Hi, I'm Jane King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go. Is a content streaming service that uses the blockchain to let fans contribute directly to their favorite musicians. And with me is Melissa B, who's a musician and a tech artist and a network engineer.
Yes.
That's amazing. Give me a little history of you and your background and what you're doing.
So a little history of me is basically I've been an artist. I started singing when I was 5 years old. But I basically became a professional by the time I was 14, and then I went to college, did all those sorts of things, became a network engineer, and then all of a sudden I started thinking to myself, how do I combine music and technology together as one? And all of a sudden I started doing all of that, and my fans started finding me, and here I am.
Yeah, no, actually makes a lot of sense because tech is kind of infiltrating everything, art and everything. So how did you find Beatify?
So I found Beatify because of a friend of mine, Dennis. He and I are mutual friends from the Grammys as Grammy members, and he told me about this platform. And after I did my research on it and I looked at it, I was like, why wouldn't I want to be a part of this? Like, me as an artist, just to give you an example, I made 1 million streams this year, well, last year, and on Spotify, and I literally made only $4,000.
Wow. I've heard similar stories.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's what drew you to Beatify.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be on something like this? I actually got to see that my music, when it got played, I was being paid instantaneously. I mean, that changes the game for everything, especially for us as artists. I mean, we fight for our rights. And a lot of artists right now, they are truly, truly feeling like they're not being heard. And they want a space and they want a place where their fans can find them and they're getting paid for their content.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about how hard it is to get 1 million streams. And then it's only $4,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it seems totally unfair.
That's why I have a day job.
Yes. No, I hear you. So what about the fair trade aspect? So how does that work? Why did that? Obviously, I know why it attracted you, but you feel very passionate about it.
I feel passionate about that because it's like if I'm getting paid a certain amount, everybody else around the world should be getting paid a certain amount. Why should it be where, like on, Spotify or any other platform, in the United States you get paid this much. If your song gets played here, it's going to get paid this much. That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like, in this decentralized world with cryptocurrency, this is definitely changing the game. And a lot of artists are starting to find out about Beatify, and they actually are interested in this. And they feel as though, wow, my music is being heard, people are hearing me, and also I'm getting paid for what's fair.
You can make a living.
Yes.
So talking about the future, how do you see music and technology evolving?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, with everything, Beatify changes the game, I think, because it's putting on the platform in terms of, in the future they're talking about doing NFTs, and I'm pretty sure you've been hearing about NFTs. That's different. That's changing the game. Then you have metaverse. Then you have people talking about that changing worlds, and there's a whole slew of things that people could do. And with the technology that Beatify is bringing, it's just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting because I don't think some of the competitors are in that space yet. No. So you have a book as well.
Yes,
Tell me about
do.
that.
So I wrote a book a couple years back, 2 years back. It's called Digitally Independent. And I literally wrote this book because a lot of artists don't know how to start their own label digitally on their own. I was always in the studio with my engineer, Michael Ashby, who actually did Cardi B's Bodak Yellow. And we were in the studio one time, and this artist was like, oh, I'm going to put my song out, and it's going to be on SoundCloud. I said, that's not putting your song out. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, are you with Sound Exchange? Are you with BMI? Are you registering your song? How's your song? How are you going to get paid for your song? People don't even know this. Do you have an LLC? So I wrote a book, straight to the point.
No, that's a great idea because they're so focused on creating that they don't understand kind of all that business part of it.
Yeah, they don't understand that they're a brand.
Right.
They don't understand that you are the brand. You're selling yourself. Beyonce sells herself. She's a brand. You have to understand that. You are a business. And with this, just like this, in the crypto world, you're a business.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the book called, in case somebody wants
Digitally Independent.
Digitally Independent, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry if you said that.
That's okay.
You said it twice. If
No,
nothing
it's
else.
fine,
Okay.
it's fine.
So what do you have coming up?
So I have a song that's going to be coming out called Physical. It's actually produced by B. Howard. And that song is going to be coming out soon. And we're going to be releasing it exclusively on Beatify first.
Awesome.
And I'm going to have it on there for a whole month before I actually release it on the major distributions that I have. And I'm going to let people discover the song on Beatify first.
Okay. And then what other things do you have coming up?
Continue on doing a second edition of my book.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Great.
And I'm also going to be performing at Carnegie Hall in April 22nd, I think, of 2022.
Yeah. And how can people find you on all the socials?
They can find me at melissab.com.
Okay. Awesome. Just go there and
Yes.
listen to your music.
Very simple.
Beatify. Awesome. So great to meet you, Melissa.
Nice to meet you,
yeah,
too.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Glint is a payment app that lets you spend gold as money. And with me is the CEO and founder, Jason Cousins. So Jason, great to have you here. We had lunch yesterday and you paid for it in gold.
Yeah.
Jason, so tell me how that works.
So what we've done is we've enabled gold to be used as everyday money. And of course, the way we do that is through our app and through our MasterCard. Glint has a partnership with MasterCard.
Okay.
And I'd previously on my app, of course, bought some gold. I topped up my account with some funds from my bank, and then those funds were available for me to be able to buy gold in the app. You can buy as little as 1 cent's worth of gold or millions of dollars, depending on how many funds you have. And once you have that gold, you buy it at the real market price in that particular moment. And once you've got that gold, you can link the card to that gold wallet.
Okay.
And so, when I paid with gold, I just used my MasterCard, as you saw, and it just deducted a tiny bit of gold. And
So it deducts it gold on your app, but then the retailer sees it as US dollars
That's
or
right.
whatever currency that they're in.
Yeah, if we hadn't told the waiter we'd paid with gold, then he would never have known.
He would never know.
But we were paying with gold.
Very interesting. Okay, so how does somebody get set up? They download the app, and then walk me through the process to get
Yeah, so
started.
you can download it from your favorite app store, Glint Pay, and once you've got it on your phone, you have to register. And we're a regulated business, so we have to do our KYC checks on people. And once you're approved, that can happen instantaneously for about 70% of our registered users. Once you've done that, you can top up your account with a ACH or bank transfer or a card payment. And once those US dollars, or if you're a different part of the world, your euros or your pounds are in your account, You can actually link your card to those fiat currencies if you want, but the main point is that you can also buy the gold.
Right. Well, we've been doing that for years, linking it to dollars.
Yes,
The gold is what makes it fun and unique. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially right now, because, obviously the inflation is ripping through the economy in our lives right now, and the cost of living is increasing tremendously fast at the moment. I mean, inflation of 6.2% in the US, and that's using the basket of goods that has been, which the government is using currently to define inflation. But if we look, for instance, at the basket of goods that was used in the 1980s, it's more like 14%, and you might have experienced that yourself as prices are going up.
Yeah, no, I don't know anything that's actually going down in price.
No.
I mean, real estate's gone crazy over the past year. Fuel, energy, food.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is gone quite a bit up.
Well, I think most people would be really surprised that inflation is insidious. It's creeping into our lives all the time. It's obviously going through a great explosion at the moment, but in my lifetime, the purchasing power of the US dollar has decreased by 85%. Mm-hmm. And, that's not just, the US dollar, of course. Lots of other currencies have lost the same or more in my lifetime. But in that same time, gold has appreciated its purchasing power by over 500%. So, it still buys you what it did 50 years ago. In fact, it still buys you what it did 2,000 years ago. It's the ultimate store of value. But you couldn't really pop down to your local supermarket and buy something with, chipping a bit of gold off the bar or a coin.
Right.
So what Glint's technology does is enable gold to be able to use electronic payments. We're the first company in the world to enable gold to be used at the point of sale with the Glint MasterCard.
Interesting. Now, if somebody is interested in investing in gold, but doesn't have even enough for the smallest bar, which I think is a quarter of an ounce or something, could they buy that on the Glint app and watch it appreciate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Glint obviously has a very strong product market fit for the wealthy who've worked hard all their lives and they've got money and they've built it up. But it's also Glint democratizing access to gold as well. So that's why we set off right from the beginning to make sure you could buy as little as 1 cent's worth of gold. And this is real gold, by the way, allocated gold.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, it's not the paper. It's not like a piece of paper that says you own gold. It's gold.
When you buy the gold, you're buying real allocated gold. It's legally yours. It's in a vault in Switzerland. If you want to have it delivered, we can organize that for you as well.
Interesting. And how does Glint make money?
So we have small revenue streams across the platform, which is still very efficient. We use the benefits of the scale of our technology to be able to offer really great pricing. So for instance, it's only 0.5% when you buy some gold or sell your gold. When you spend gold in your local currency, so if you use your card here in the US, we don't charge you anything. Effectively, there is a sale going on, isn't there? But when you sell your gold to pay for that lunch, but we don't charge you anything for that because we get 1% from the merchant as well.
I see.
So all merchants pay MasterCard a fee to acquire the money, and we have 1% of that transaction. So there's also a few other fees. There's a 0.25% a year for having that gold stored and insured by Lloyd's of London.
There would be a cost associated with the real
you
thing.
A small carry cost, but on average, gold, although the price of gold does go up and down, and there is some risk around that. Generally speaking, the value of gold is going up in the long term. So all the fees are very transparent, available on the website, which is glintpay.com.
Glintpay.com. Awesome, Jason. Thank you so much. It was very fascinating to watch that transaction yesterday. So thank you.
Thank you.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, Strikeforce Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Equify is decentralized finance and banking all on a single platform. And with me is the CEO, Brad Yasser, to talk more about this. So I thought I'd let you kind of elaborate a little bit more about what the company is all about. Do you want to do that, and then we'll go into some details?
Yeah, definitely. So Equify was born out of necessity, basically. We looked at the banking sector with almost no returns on people's accounts, both checking and savings, and then we looked at the crypto space, specifically into decentralized finance, and realized that there's a huge need to connect to the rest of the world. There's a lot of value creation in the space, a lot of good projects launching, a lot of money being made, but people who are creating that value are cut off from traditional banking. They cannot transfer that value out to their everyday lives and buy a car, buy a house, really enjoy the fruits of their hard work. So we decided, why not build a platform that bridges the gap between the two and bring digital banking together with high-yield DeFi products.
Yeah.
So Equify was born.
Okay. I mean, and you're right. I mean, the financial system is changing. I mean, you can kind of feel it happening, especially if you're on the front lines like you are. So I was looking at your website this morning, and you had a yield aggregator returning 70% APY. That's amazing.
It is, and it even was higher than our expectations. So we looked at ways to create sustainable return for our users. There are a lot of yield products out there in the DeFi space using crypto assets. A lot of them are intertwined. So they borrow from one, the other one uses it, they lend to each other. And so you have underlying level of return where it's like single digits for stable coins or crypto that's pegged to real assets, and then slightly higher 2 digits for the rest of the crypto assets. We wanted to try something different and create a yield aggregator from scratch and do it based on liquidity pools and fees and what's going on in different projects, assets that they hold or the value that they lock. And so we started this product. We had our projections, of course. We wanted to be in the 2 digits. I was hoping for 20%.
Okay.
And then, well, we've been around for 3 solid months now. So we looked at the numbers, and for the 3 months, we've done 17%.
7-0.
So, well, 3 months, 1-7, then
Okay.
APY is over 70.
I
so
see.
like
Got it.
72-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are these all underlying crypto assets that this aggregator is based on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
So, and how can somebody invest in that or get involved in that?
Couple ways, and we're trying to simplify it as much as we can. Right now, if you own any crypto that's accepted on our platform, you can deposit it in the yield aggregator, and it's as simple as that.
Okay.
So you create an account on our website.
And do you have the main crypto, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we have the main ones. But you just create an account, you go to the yield aggregator, you assign however much of your crypto you want to deploy, and it's as simple as that. In the future, this is very near future, so we're talking Q1, Q2. We want to get to a point where you log into your account and you can use your US dollars, your euros, your fiat money to just go into the yield aggregator.
Okay, and
so
you can purchase it that way.
Yes,
Yeah.
directly go into it.
Okay. And the metaverse. So you've got to play there as well.
Well, the metaverse has been growing exponentially.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Second Life from 2 decades ago, where people. Oh, there was a
I remember Ready Player One.
there was a metaverse long before blockchain and crypto called Second Life, where people would build buildings, buy land, make real money because it was based on US dollars.
Okay.
And that really stuck with me, that people could find the same value they find in the real world in a virtual environment. Fast forward to this year with all the crypto metaverse projects either launching or fundraising or being in the news, we thought, okay, we want to be pioneers. How can we be pioneers in the metaverse and thought, well, how about being the only bank that serves the metaverse within the metaverse? So you don't have to go to a separate place to access your funds or check your accounts. You can do it if it's a virtual reality one where it's immersive. You put on your goggles and walk into, Equify. And if it's a 2D one, you scroll into it. But it's going to be very exciting because we're already in talks with 4 metaverses to launch a virtual presence in them.
Oh, fascinating. Okay. And then finally, do you want to talk about the crypto index that you'll be having on the NASDAQ?
Yes. So because we are licensed and regulated, and because both on the Equify side with the DeFi platform and Equibank side, on the banking side, we had these existing relationships with traditional markets. We started obviously talking to them, NASDAQ being one of them, and said, you guys want to start covering crypto a little bit, even if you're not going to list crypto assets on the exchange because of regulatory uncertainty, we understand that you may want to at least inform people about it. And that was really well received. So in partnership with NASDAQ, now we're working on a crypto index that's going to track regulated crypto projects, just like ours. So you can look at that and see how well the regulated projects are doing and compare it to the regular markets, compare it to the rest of the crypto. We thought that would be a really good way to show that if you do something in partnership with the regulators and the right way, for the lack of a better term, you will see the success and the results you're looking for.
Is that a 2022 thing?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
we'll look forward to that. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Helios DX is defining a new era of reliable laboratory testing with fast, accurate results. With a full range of services including urine toxicology, behavioral toxicology, infectious disease, allergy, and other popular test menus. Helios DX, an alternative to national diagnostic laboratories, provides value to patients and physicians through personable and reliable services. To learn more, visit heliosdx.com/labs.
Vulcan Forge is a blockchain-based game studio, and Pure is their play-to-earn gaming module. So with me to explain more about how all this works, and especially the new kind of play-to-earn gaming concept, which is really interesting, as the CEO, Jamie Thompson. Jamie, great to see you.
Thank you very much for having me. Lovely to be here.
Let's just start with introduce yourself, introduce the company as well.
Sure. So Vulcan Forge is a game studio. We're one of the few companies that kind of made the direction from gaming into blockchain, whereas a lot of blockchain companies now moving into gaming with this whole metaverse and play to earn hype. We're one of the we went the other way around really. So we started as a gaming studio first, and we moved into blockchain after when we sort of realized how incredible the idea of owning your own assets and these play-to-earn models could be. There's 45 of us in the studio altogether, 15 of us in-house here in Greece, and everyone else around the world. You know, due to the corona epidemic, it's a bit harder to get everyone in one place at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how we've all globally adapted to this. Explain the metaverse a little bit. Of course, we know Facebook has changed their name to Meta Platforms. We've been hearing more about this. Explain what it is, how we all be interacting with the metaverse.
Sure, yeah. Well, it's funny because the term metaverse was actually coined in 1990 science fiction novels. I think it was John Hall in Snow Crash or something like that. It just meant a futuristic world. It just so happens that now it's been coined by a lot of blockchain game studio and companies of this idea of a virtual world where you own things. So the word metaverse itself is it's not new to the world. But yeah, so I say metaverse is really sort of a futuristic virtual world. Now, how we've defined it is basically owning your own assets within a virtual landscape. This whole NFT boom and blockchain, we've seen the power of blockchain in that you can own a sword or you can own a horse or a wolf or anything. And that allows you to have a sort of a self-sustaining economy within these games, as opposed to just some centralized game you play for fun. Now you've got some real-world meaning behind your actions within it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and some of the amazing things is like I saw a piece of virtual real estate sold for like $1.3 million. I mean, I think a lot of people just can't get their head around that. They're like, why would somebody buy virtual real estate? But is it expectation that'll go up in value? Is it just to be part of the metaverse? I mean, why do we own things in the metaverse?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of three things, really. I mean, first of all, you have to remember that these payments aren't made from credit cards. They're usually made from sort of currencies, cryptocurrencies that people have been storing on these exchanges for a long time. So people don't usually think in dollars as much when they make these transactions. Second of all, it is about ownership. I mean, blockchain, without doubt, cannot take ownership of an asset from you. So it is like, owning a car in your name or a house in your name, not legally binding, but technologically binding to you. So yes, there is that element of ownership. And of course, rarity. If in our game, Vulcanverse, for example, there are only 10,000 plots of land. There only ever will be 10,000 plots of land. So if you own one of those plots, that's it. You're 1 in 10,000. So value sort of drives with it. And of course, there's speculation from some traders, of course.
Yeah. No, it's a really interesting kind of economy. Describe the game to me, Vulcanverse.
Sure. Well, Vulcanverse is one of 9 games we've got. Vulcanverse is probably our most advanced game. We were actually the first metaverse to be functional in the whole blockchain space. It's sort of a Greco-Roman mythology, based with the Zeus and all the gods and goddesses of the Olympians and Titans. So there are 10,000 plots of land and actually the map's behind me. You've got the underworld of Hades, of the grasslands of Acadia, Boreas and Notus, the deserts. So you own this plot of land, and with it, you can sculpt and terramorph it however you want. So of course you own it like you do in blockchain, but we've added an extra layer on that, and then you can shape and grow it into however you like. And of course, we've added quests and gameplay and all this kind of stuff within it. But again, unlike other games, everything you own and everything you do is recorded forever and permanently on the blockchain. So it's just the actions you're doing within the game transfers to your real life. If you level up a game and you manage to earn some money in the game, that's real. And it's it's fascinating because it's just you're creating like a petri dish of civilization within it. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's kind of hard to get your head around it. Exactly, but it is exciting to watch. And I like the fact that people all over the world can play, and some people are actually seeing some financial benefit from it in some poor countries and things. So Jamie, fascinating. Thank you so much for coming and explaining all this. My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, Strikeforce Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit strikeforcetech.com today.
Alpaca Finance is a lending platform on the Binance Smart Chain. So lenders can earn stable yields. Borrowers have some flexibility as well. And with me is Head of Institutional Growth, Pete Woodard. Great to see you. So just give me an overview. What is Alpaca Finance?
Yeah, sure. So Alpaca Finance is a crypto lending platform. We provide yield-generating opportunities to primarily 2 different types of users. One of those users is looking for passive income that beats the bank or your banking account, so circa 5 to 10%. And the other is a more active investor kind of in crypto DeFi that look for higher yields, and they do something called yield farming, or also known as automated market making. But the value prop is pretty well the same for both. They're putting their assets to work with us, and they're generating higher than average yields you get pretty well anywhere else. As for the company goes, sorry, you're going to say something?
Well, I was going to ask you, give me an example of some yields.
Well, yeah, on the passive side, again, high single digits is not uncommon. For yield farmers, it sounds, compared to traditional finance, a bit insane, but it's double digits up to kind of triple digits. But that's yield farming. We focus on leverage. We add leverage to yield farming.
Okay, all right. And decentralized finance. So that's a word we're hearing more and more. Kind of explain that concept.
Yeah, so in broad strokes, so decentralized finance is also known as DeFi, or more commonly known as DeFi. And really what it is an open financial system for the internet age built on blockchain. So unlike traditional finance, which is sort of centrally controlled by a company and at this point built on very old technology, with DeFi you're in complete control. And you can find, in terms of products, pretty well anything you could find in a bank. So lending, borrowing, investing, trading, and you're in complete control. The market as a whole is growing a lot, so it's about 300 billion, growing quarter on quarter. Yeah. And many of the largest sort of banks, institutions, family offices are all involved. But I would argue for the normal user, it's a level playing field. Like all the information is out there and complete level playing field.
No, it's
for,
a whole new
people.
Paradigm for finance. It's going to be interesting to see
how
this, how this all unfolds. So who would be a typical Alpaca Finance customer?
Yeah, it's a real mix. So we have a really broad user base. It kind of sits into two buckets. We have normal people like myself that use it for passive income or yield farming, so generating strategies. But there's notable institutions. We have family offices, funds, asset managers that are putting 7-8 figures of capital with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not on the radar of a lot of people in finance.
No, not yet. I think it's on the radar with more than they speak about, in my humble opinion. So like we speak to a lot of
it's like a well-kept secret.
Yeah, it's a really well-kept secret now. I think a lot of people are trying to, especially users, not so much, are really kind of caught on with it. But when we talk about like institutions, I would argue that they're just trying to figure out how it fits into their mix, but it's definitely on their radar.
Very interesting. Thanks so much, Pete, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Blockbank is blending decentralized finance and artificial intelligence into a web and mobile application. And with me is the co-founder, Darren Franciscini, to talk about this a little bit. So let's just start. Give me an overview of Blockbank.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blockbank is based on 4 pillars of technology. There's the decentralized side, which is a decentralized finance wallet, which allows individuals to participate in the DeFi side of things, which is a hot topic right now. There's the centralized custodial wallet at this point, which is where individuals can custody their assets with us, which allows them to stake, allows them to earn, allows them to lend, borrow, etc. Then we have the banking side, which provides basic banking services as well as cards, and the robo-advisor.
Okay, and that's where the artificial intelligence comes in.
Absolutely.
Robo-advisor.
It's still learning.
Okay, all right. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but there are some projects that you're working on right now with Blockbank. So tell me, describe those.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working with various different projects in this space. We're working with Elrond, with a few of the other big, large protocols. We're integrating all of their services into the decentralized side, which allows individuals to participate directly with those services.
Okay, all right. And then how is this application different than other DeFi applications?
I would say that it is similar on the DeFi side of the application. It's a super application, right? So it has everything, it's all encompassing, it's all in one, everything is in one app. It allows an individual to participate in any part of the crypto space as well as traditional finance space in one application.
Okay, and then so is this basically kind of a replica of a traditional bank? Why have all these things in one application?
It comes from the founders who have been scorned through various banking institutions of not being able to open accounts with their businesses. There are traditional blockchain businesses being denied services, et cetera, as well as understanding that there's so many applications out there that one needs to use to participate in this space. we decided why not put them all into one application and provide easy access to services.
So how easy is it to set up an account? Because I know when you set up a bank account, you got to take in like a million different things. Or, how easy is it to set up an account on a bank?
It's very easy. You just download the application on the Google Play or App Store or Apple App Store, and you do your AML KYC, and you'll either be approved or be asked
some
for
money in and
other things. Put money in, and you're good to go.
And you're good to go. Explain the robo-advisor part to me. So where do you sit with that? How does the artificial intelligence work behind that?
So we've used various sources to create the first data sets of the intelligence of the artificial intelligence. It's learning, it's in beta at this point. So what it does is it aggregates a bunch of data as well as consumer queries, and then provides actionable insights based on real-time data.
Okay. And does that invest in numerous different types of assets, stocks, everything?
At this point, it's specifically crypto, and we're going to do the foundation of learning through the crypto space because it's the most volatile space. Once it's established a baseline there, we're going to expand it into traditional markets.
Got it. Okay. And then how are you protecting people's privacy and security? It's a big issue, I know, with banking.
Yes. So we're fully compliant, GDPR compliant, and those standards we use across the board. When it comes to North America, we've worked with various service providers to ensure that we do comply with all the local standards as well.
Now, does the blockchain, the decentralized part of it, help with that?
So the decentralized side provides the users the ability to just have their assets, control their assets, their keys, et cetera.
Okay.
We have no access to that. We have no access to that data. So that allows the individual to participate in the crypto space without us accumulating data, even though they're using our application.
Okay. So how can somebody get started with Blockbank?
So they go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, they download the application, and they can start using it right away.
Is it global?
Yes.
Global. So any United States, anybody can use it?
Yes. So right now we're integrating on the centralized side, we're integrating our third-party services to allow individuals to be able to participate there because of, restrictions and regulations due to jurisdictional here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there a website they can go there and
Absolutely.
learn more if they need to?
It's just blockbank.ai.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Darren.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Globex offers cybersecurity and internet privacy services under the brand name Secure, and they just got a buy rating on the stock from the firm FRC. So with me is the CEO, Alon Gahi, to talk about this. And it was really interesting, Alon, to read the report this morning. A lot of good things to say about the company. I mean, one thing that stood out to me was just their projections for subscriber base, for revenue, how they just really see demand continuing for these types of services.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Hello to anyone who's watching us. This is a real validation of what management and our team, our engineers, our software engineers, and our entire team has been working so hard to bring really good value to the shareholders of the company. We had a buy target with a fair value today of $1.21 Canadian, about 96 cents US. And as you noticed on some of the pages, I think it was page 13, I'm not sure, on the report, they do predict 500,000 subscribers in 2030. So in 2030, that's quite a long time away. The job of these research companies is to be fairly conservative. In fact, they do mention on a footnote that they did a very conservative valuation of the company based on a few factors. One of them is the number of users. We believe that we, with a couple of deals we're working on for next year, along with, once we graduate to, we believe we're going to file for NASDAQ listing next year. Once we graduate to that, with the funding that we're going to get, we should get the 500,000 users within 2 to 4 years at most. So, it's going to accelerate. It's more like 2025 as opposed to 2030. We're probably going to get way more than that in 4 years. So I'm happy with what they wrote because it's a target today, a fair value of 200% higher than, the latest closing price.
Yeah, no, it was a very favorable report. And I mean, they also mentioned ownership of the company. So tell me about how many shares do you own? Who are the main owners of the business?
Sure. And again, this is all fully public information. So I own about 30 million shares of the company, about 27% fully diluted. Management owns about 30%. One thing I should add is that I do have also options and warrants, so that will carry me to a higher ownership. I think once we dilute the company with, let's say, $25–50 million of financing, we would still have management owning over 20%, which is quite high considering once you go to the big board and raise so much money for management to still own that much. And that means that in the CEO and management, the shareholders have an ally because it is to our benefit that we do well as the shareholder. The shareholder and management interests line up completely. So high ownership, I even buy in the market many times in the public market. I declare with my SEDI filing. So we are big believers of the long-term value of this company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they mentioned Switzerland, which you and I have talked about before, which is where the company is headquartered. I mean, it's where you're operating out of. So why is that a crucial piece of information, the Switzerland part of the deal?
Sure. So the Switzerland was started with Globex Data SA, which is a company I also own a vast majority privately. I have a few shareholders, including one of our board members on Globex Data Limited. Switzerland has the strictest data privacy laws in the world. And the fact that we are not hooked up to a US cloud platform like the big techs out there, like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft Azure, it makes it that we are not subject to the Cloud Act of 2018. So it guarantees you the highest grade of privacy. What we did in 2017 and into 2019, really, when we licensed in perpetuity the technology to the public company, the servers are still in Switzerland, managed by Globex SA, our Swiss company, and that remains private and in Switzerland, so as not to have any kind of forced demand from, any kind of government out there. Yeah. Of course, we obey fully by the law. We obey by the Swiss FADP laws, which means that a Swiss federal judge will have to come to us and ask us to subpoena maybe somebody's data or log their account. In most cases, we can't even see their logs because we don't record them. So what we would do, if a federal judge in Switzerland comes to us and say, X person is a bad person and we have a warrant in Switzerland, a valid warrant, we would log their account and redirect the reset password to the federal judge. That's the only thing I can do. In Switzerland also, you have to notify anybody that's been accused that they are being under investigation for fairness of due process. So we'll have to notify that person in most cases as well.
Well, and congratulations, because to start to get coverage on Wall Street is like a milestone for companies. So, and it's, it's a very favorable report. So thank you so much, Alon, for joining us again and give us that. And again, they can go to the website and read more about the company.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, Strikeforce Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Helios DX is defining a new era of reliable laboratory testing with fast, accurate results. With a full range of services including urine toxicology, behavioral toxicology, infectious disease, allergy, and other popular test menus. Helios DX, an alternative to national diagnostic laboratories, provides value to patients and physicians through personable and reliable services. To learn more, visit heliosdx.com/labs.
Phantom Sports Media is an entertainment company that has developed proprietary gaming and microservices platforms for esports. And with me is the CEO, David Vinokurov, to break a little news and give me an update as well on how the company is doing. So let's start with this announcement. You're teaming with PaySafe. Yep. So what is that all about?
Yeah, so this is actually, PaySafe is one of the largest payments providers in the world with a specific focus on online gaming. So we've been working with our banking partners for the last 6 months or so to get our banking in order so that we can get payments set up. So we finally got our banking sorted out. That allowed us to team up with PaySafe to deliver a couple of their services. One is Skrill, one is NetTeller. Putting aside the cool names, basically what this allows us to do is to accept 70 different payment types from over 40 countries around the world. So what we can do with our current license, which is a Curacao license, is we can operate in 140 countries. So by partnering with PaySafe, we can take a variety of payment methods in all of those jurisdictions. So it's a big step for us towards going live.
Wow, no, that is certainly a big deal. And to be able to take so many payments is, a lot of flexibility, because we know the payment system is changing globally. So, all right. So you explained a little bit about what this means for the company and what it means for the consumer. It's just an ease of use.
Exactly, right? At the end of the day, whether you're visiting us on our online gaming platform or going down to your local corner store, you want to make it as easy as possible for consumers to interact and transact with the company. So by us partnering with PaySafe, it opens up a variety of payment methods, even solutions for people that are looking to access our online platform with cash. Through NetTeller, we're able to provide mechanisms where they can do that and top up an online wallet, regardless of where they are in the world, and opening up our platform to everybody that's of age and obviously in a jurisdiction where it's legal. So the more people that can access the platform, the more people that can spend money, hopefully that'll translate to more revenues for the company. We're very excited about that.
What is the rollout of this service? So it's not quite operational, but very close, right?
Exactly, right? So we just got approved with PaySafe just last week. So our tech team is working on the integrations with the payments company, with our bank accounts. That should be done this week, next week. So the service will be live. So we'll be ready for revenues. So the first iteration of the service will be our peer-to-peer esports wagering. So Jane, that'll be a situation where I would log on to the platform. I would challenge you to a specific event occurring in an esporting event. There'll be more than 50 kills, or, it's going to go more than 2 rounds, challenging people through social media platforms within our platform and within our community as well. And then creating a global marketplace for wagers of that way.
Well, thank you, David. I look forward to an update once some of these things start rolling in next year.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, we got pretty steady news right through to the end of Q1. And as always, we'll keep the audience engaged. So I appreciate your time as well.
Thank you.
Cyber attacks are a global threat that affects everyone. For over 20 years, Strikeforce has developed leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Visit strikeforcetech.com.
Ritual makes plant-based elixirs for modern wellness. And with me is the COO, Greg McCauley, to talk a little bit more about where the company is right now, and kind of let's give everybody, Greg, a kind of a rehash of, tell me about your experience and just the company in general.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Nice to be here with you. Again, Greg McCauley came on recently as our COO with the company. My experience, I always just say 30 plus years of great companies, great brands, and great people, which is I look at where I came from. Ernest and Julio Gallo, probably the most, Procter & Gamble used to be that place where you'd go to get your CPG training, and really Gallo kind of took that over in the late 80s and 90s. So I was there, transitioned to Miller Brewing Company, which, Philip Morris company at the time, and had a great run there as well. And then, kind of made a transition in my career to something new and different. And at the time, it was called Red Bull Energy Drink, that nobody'd ever heard of before. And I remember accepting the role of running the sales in the West with them, where it was like people are saying, who, where? So that turned into just a fantastic run. It included responsibilities in the US as well as Canada. I had the opportunity to be employee number one of what was Red Bull Canada in the late 2000s. So a great experience there. I then transitioned, as this industry goes, followed a colleague of mine over to a company called Cytosport. We had a product called Muscle Milk, which we really drove distribution and turned a product called Muscle Milk into something that both males and females would purchase in convenience stores and grocery stores, and built that into a really nice business that we sold to Hormel in the mid 2000s. And then kind of have done a couple of other startups. I got involved back in the alcohol business with Jägermeister, kind of a brand that had a great run that we tried to bring back. And then just a couple of other startups. So I would say that I've got a pretty vast experience in CPG, a lot of beverage, but then this nutritional piece as well. And I've gone vegan. I've really been focused on plant-based as well.
Okay, Greg, thank you so much for coming with the update, and I look forward to our next interview, and you'll have some more news to share.
Thanks, Jane. Appreciate your time.
All right, everyone, welcome back to New to the Street. This is your weekly hack with Elaine Guy. Elaine's with Globex Data, the leader in Swiss-hosted private and secure communications and data management. Welcome back, Elaine.
Thank you, Anna. Happy to see you and anybody who's watching us.
Let's talk a little bit about secure communications. A lot of people are joining Telegram. I joined myself, but there's some people out there who are peddling some fake vaccine cards with groups, and that's getting a lot of people in trouble, but it's also putting your data and your information out there to people you don't want it to get out there to, right?
Absolutely. So these are people that basically have your phone number, and they're pushing these fake COVID certificates on people. So you don't even have a choice. Somebody is just spamming you, and you or your group or whomever, there is no protection against people forcing themselves onto you in this way. So that's one problem. The other problem is that people are posting their COVID card and their vaccine card and whatnot, their certificates on social media, and basically the hackers are taking that information, so they're scanning your name, your email, etc., and the COVID vaccine number, I guess, or the COVID certificate, and they're reselling that to other people. So you're going to be, let's say, Anna Berry, and you're going to have the COVID vaccine certificate of, whatever, Jane Jones. with her email, her versus, I mean, who knows? It's just a mix. But people are taking from regular people that have the vaccine, selling it to people who don't have it yet. And basically, not only that's illegal, obviously, but it tells you that whatever you post online on social media is completely scanned,
right,
and then put into a database for future use of criminal activities.
Well, and you speak about this a lot, Elaine. Lower your social media footprint, and especially when it comes to medical information. Don't post it on the online for the world to see.
Yeah, I mean, don't post it medical, even when you use an email. That's why, and if I may say, you should use something like Secure, because we have the Secure Send feature, which lets you send an email to your doctor or physician or anybody else or a specialist without anybody on the internet being able to grab it through all these things that we've been discussing so far, these hacks. And that way your email is only in Switzerland, and the physician that needs to read it clicks on a link, which you can password protect as well. You can have a self-destruct timer, etc. And then they can read and reply back using Secure Reply. Medical is a perfect example of why you need something like Secure Send, but that's for the email part. For the messenger part, this is where the fact that we do not ask for your phone number. That means that if you use Secure Messenger, when you subscribe using a username and password, nobody knows that you have that, because they may have your phone number, but they will not be able to push themselves into your secure application. And even if you give your secure number, which is a particular number you get every time you register for Secure or you're issued one, even if you give it to a friend and that friend wants to connect to you, you still have the option to refuse. So you're in full control of who you decide can communicate with you. That's huge, because what's happening on this platform, in fact, I've had on on WhatsApp, I've had lately, funny enough, some spam, like people, I don't know, some work thing, and I'm trying to find a button that says block number, and you can't. That's another issue that I have. I have used WhatsApp because some people, they only have WhatsApp overseas, and I'm forced to use that application. But I do a very limited thing. I put all the privacy setting, I double check every time, because every time you have an update, by the way, they reset the privacy setting, so they siphon everything from you. It's just a nightmare. And, you know, at Secure, we don't do that because A, we don't data mine you. It's our philosophy. It's also the rule of law in Switzerland, unless you specifically approved, you know, 50 times everywhere that you accept things. So it makes it hard for a company like us to just data mine you, but it's not even our philosophy. So that's why, you know, we recommend using a paid product like ours, because these things happen.
Upfront fees in the beginning, it makes complete sense. So if you are going to message your vaccine card or email it, make sure you do it with Secure. Otherwise, who knows who's going to get your information out there, because it's happening on multiple platforms. So as always, Elaine, thank you for keeping our data safe and secure and enlightening our minds so that we can live a pretty good, secure life out there wherever our viewers find themselves. So thank you again for joining us on New to the Street.
Happy to be here, and see you next week for some more security and privacy tips. Thanks, Anna, and thanks everyone who's watching us.